conflict resolution and negotiation from Columbia University. Yeah, I will be really delighted to hear from you while we are going through this class. So negotiation and risk management, it's going to be our class. It's a big topic to talk about in 1 hour. So we will have some of the discussions, but I made sure I shared with you some documents that you can read on your free time. And understand everyone has a busy schedule, but we try to accommodate and try to read the reading materials that I sent. And we can discuss even after. If you guys have any questions, we will feel free to contact me after. So I will just go deep in the class now. You can put all your microphone on mute, so to make sure everybody is okay. Ladies and gentlemen, so when we talk about negotiation, what does it come to you? What does it come to you in your mind? You would think about maybe people communicating. But first of all, I can ask one person here in the audience who can tell me what they know about negotiation.
Hello.
Yes. Go ahead.
Good morning to all on Sunday. I am Michael from Freetown. From what I have learned from the word negotiation is putting things together and making things right. Let's say, for example, an individual has something. Let's say in business, I am selling my car and an individual wants it. So the person will come and say, I want $2,000 for this car, for example. And the individual will say, no, Michael, I have $1,500. We have to negotiate and we meet at.
Yep, exactly.
Then we set on my car and they come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Once again, please, if you're not speaking, mute your microphone. That would be great. Yeah. So again, thank you so much. I forgot who was speaking, but it's pretty much about it. So negotiation is a way it's a discussion that we engage with somebody, with our counterpart, in order to get somewhere. You know, a negotiation is not just a discussion, a mere discussion that we just talk and then we go, but we start for somewhere, we're going somewhere. It's also a plain discussion, because when we start negotiating, we know that I have something in my mind. This is in terms of, I like the example here, like about purchasing a car, for example. I know that I want to purchase this car at this price, and this is the cost, and this is what I can pay in order to get the deal done. So the negotiation is a pre-planned discussion, because we want to get somewhere. I want to go home with the new car. And when we try to define the negotiation, so is a discussion, I just talked about it, aim at reaching an agreement. Any discussion that is not that doesn't aim to reach an agreement is not a negotiation. It's maybe just a simple discussion. But remember, like it or not, we all are negotiators by birth. You know, every human being are negotiator at birth, by birth. But some people do an excellent job, because, you know, they take the time to learn the skills and then also to become more efficient during negotiations. So every day we negotiate. Who can give me just an example of this morning? I will tell you, this morning you negotiated. Who can give me a quick example of the negotiation they just did this morning?
It was preparation. One example is preparation.
Yeah, preparation. Okay, preparation, that's a great answer, because you will see during the discussion, and today we will see that it's part of the steps for you to do a negotiation. You need to prepare. Thank you so much for the answer. So back to my question, who can tell me something they did this morning? Even when we wake up in the morning, we negotiate with ourselves. Like, do I really need to log in? Do I really need to use Zoom this morning? Do I really need this class? Maybe. And we convince ourselves like, oh, I need to do this course. I need to wake up this morning. I need to go again, to go out there and get the job done. I need to go to school. We negotiate with ourselves. Then we decide, okay, it's worth it. So in the most, I mean, a most scientific manner, if we can define negotiation, it will be by Richard Shell, who's the writer for the bargaining for advantage. He defines negotiation as an interactive communication process that may take place whenever we want something for someone else, or we want something from us. So we have elements of a negotiation. These elements must be in a negotiation for us to know that, oh, this is a negotiation. It might not be a negotiation if those elements are not inside. The first element in the negotiation process is interest. Interest. Everybody, when we wake up, we look for our interest. If something, what am I gaining from this? Why I have to sacrifice my time, my energy to do something if this thing doesn't benefit to me? Every human being look for their own interest, and in the negotiation process, we have to make sure that our interests are met, our interests are aligned for us in order to achieve our goals. Another element of negotiation, it will be relationship, because this is really important. So for you, I will always say, when we wake up, we go to the market, we negotiate something, and we go home. But sometimes it's really important to focus on the relationship, because in a business setting and in a professional setting, negotiations are really important, a way for you to build a good relationship with your peers, with maybe your coworker, even with your counterparts, people that you're trying to set deals, but you would like to make a good relationship with those people. So this thing will be critical. It's named the alternative and BATNA. What is a BATNA? A BATNA basically means best alternative to the negotiated agreement. So best alternative to the negotiated agreement is my way, when I'm thinking, okay, I need this thing, but what is the best way for me to get that thing done? So it's your own strategy that will make sure you secure the deal. So part of the negotiation is also communication. When you don't communicate, you can't settle a deal. That's why we need to pay attention on the way we communicate, especially if we are looking to secure a wonderful opportunity. For example, you and I, we apply a lot. We apply for a scholarship. We do apply for maybe a position. Don't be afraid to negotiate. Don't be afraid to communicate your goals, because as leaders, you have to make sure your goals are met. Don't never be shy. Never negotiate in fear. Like, oh, maybe I'm gonna lose. Never settle for less. That's what I always say. Don't settle for less. Make sure you communicate your goals. You communicate your needs, but also make sure your interests are met. It can be when you're applying for maybe a scholarship. That's why you need to take your time to write a good paper and to communicate what you really want, but also to talk about yourself, to give value about yourself. Part of a negotiation deal is also to give value for what you are looking for. So it's really important for us to think about the way we communicate and the way we handle, the way we share our information, because sharing information can be critical. For example, there are questions to ask. I have a book here with me. The book, I'll make sure we have this book on the PDF format. It says 10 questions to negotiate anything. You can negotiate anything, but you have to ask the proper questions. Sometimes we don't ask the right questions. So to learn to ask the right questions. Even at the end of this class, please ask me the right questions. I will be willing to share you anything I can, to the best of my knowledge. So make sure in your businesses, at home, at school, ask the right questions. To your professors, ask the right questions when it matters. So after knowing elements of negotiation, we have the stage of negotiation, because there's a stage. My friend just spoke about preparation, right? So preparation, that's the most important, the preparation is the most important stage of a negotiation. So don't go to negotiate a business or anything without taking your time to prepare. Taking your time to prepare means if it can happen on anything. If I have a job interview, for example, I will take my time to prepare. What is the company? I'll do my homework. I'll try to know what is the company about, what are they talking about, what is their value, what is their vision, what is their goal. I think it's pretty much what you guys did before joining AYA research lab. You also did your homework, sort of. You prepare. You wanted to know, what is this organization? What do I have to put my time in? So, but also after you prepare your negotiation and you go on the field where you have to challenge yourself, maybe let's say, for example, I will talk a little about soccer. I will talk a lot about soccer because we watch football. In the US, they call it soccer. I hate when they call it soccer. Okay, so football, when you want to sell a player, who is really great. I watch the AFCON, right? The African Cup. I see that Gambia was playing pretty well. You guys played amazing. You did an amazing job. You had some wonderful players in your team. I forgot one name, Jallo, I guess Jallo, or the goalkeeper. Let's say we want to sell the goalkeeper and there is an agent that comes. I say, okay, I want to sell this player to this wonderful team in Europe. So this guy will make sure he prepares, what to say, but also will prepare how much he is going to sell the player for. But when he comes in, he needs to be able to share more information about the player, like maybe about his biography, his age, how the player will be effective in the new team, how important the player will impact. But after that, it comes the part of bargaining. Bargaining, you know it. I talk, I give my price, you give yours, and if there's a deal, we settle, we close the deal. If there's no deal, we go back again. We can do a new meeting. Oh, maybe let's meet another time. But make sure at the end, there is a closing. We close our deal. So at the end of this class, I know time is flying really fast, but we need to make sure to know the negotiation skills and tips. First of all, listening skills. You guys need to become more listeners. A negotiator is a person that listens a lot. The nature gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. What does it mean? It means we need to listen a lot, listen more than we talk. As a leader, as you are going to be young leaders, you're going to be professionals, as you are part of this program, we expect you to become more listeners, to listen carefully and to observe. Take your time to observing because I think we in Africa, I'm from Africa, I'm from Congo, I talk a lot. I always talk a lot. But the problem is poor listeners miss opportunities. The problem is the more we talk, we listen less, and we miss the opportunity to maybe to learn something, to learn a valuable information that would have been tremendous for us to secure a deal, a wonderful deal, maybe. Yeah, so we need to have analytical skills. Analytical skill, what does it mean? You guys, you can ask me questions later, but we need to make sure you tracking informations. Analytical means an ability to analyze informations, but also to think critically, and for you to secure, you know, like a solution, or to find solutions, you need to think critically. You don't have to be subjective, like you think with your emotions. No, you don't have to, but try to find information, take your time to do your homework, do some research. It's really important. In a time of Facebook and everything, social media, everything is going fast. So people spend lesser time in looking for the right information, to analyzing things. Everybody just want to jump to conclusion. A leader doesn't jump to conclusion. A leader takes time, analyzes, and make sure he get the right information before solving something. So you guys are going to be the problem solvers. You solve so many critical problems, so you need to be able to take your time. Be professional, control your emotions. What does it mean, controlling your emotions? It only means that, you know, you have to think rationally. Sometimes don't judge people by their emotions. You know, during a negotiation, during in a work environment, try to keep it professional. Keep it professional at all costs. So when we will go in the field and do our work, we make sure we dress professionally. We talk to people in the most, you know, appropriate manner. Communication skills is key. We talked about it. I will not talk more about it. To succeed in business negotiation, you have to have effective communication. So it's about everything. Communication is also your body language, how you position yourself when you're talking, how you interact with people. So it's really important, but also being patient. These are all, you know, I would say it's soft skills, okay? Like, you know, dealing with your emotions, being more emotionally intelligent. Yeah, mostly soft skill, but it's also important to learn how to become persuasive. Persuasive means what? I can tell you that I can do my best to tell you anything so that I can encourage you to agree on my side. That way you can use both verbal and non-verbal skills. You know, the way you position yourself, the way you interact with people, how the energy you bring on the table of discussion. It's really important. Usually when I go, because I travel around the world. I've been to Gambia, by the way, so I am not a foreigner. Okay, don't see me as, oh, this guy is from Congo. And I've been to Gambia. I know there are some friends from Sierra Leone. I will be to Sierra Leone also. I've been to Gambia. So in a few time, I spent maybe 5 or 10 days in the Gambia, but I gained more friends in this shorter time because the way I just present myself, the way I talk to people, the energy it brings, it just connecting. And then you need to become the people that build bridges between people. You don't know, people are always watching. People don't only listen to you, the way you talk, but also watching your body language, the way you interact with people, the energy you bring. So it's really important. So I will encourage you on that. Now let's go deeper. We talked about soft skill. We talked about talking, communication, and things like that. Now let's talk about things that can be practical. You know, things that we can learn, like a skill, like a hard skill. SWOT analysis or SWOT matrix. I don't know, maybe you heard about it. I'm sure, of course, you know, you guys are learners. A SWOT analysis is something I usually do on a personal basis. You can apply this in every aspect of your life. SWOT analysis matrix will help you analyze anything and have an idea. We're talking also about risk management. A leader is the person that manages the risk to make sure when I'm going out, I'm doing something, I'm working on a project, I am being effective. I will try to do my homework from home, make sure everything is aligned, because when I go, I want to make more impact and have less, you know, damages on my end. So SWOT analysis will really help. If you do this before, that's why I put the questions here. What are the questions to ask? S means strength, W means weakness, opportunity, and threat. Okay, so you got it. So you can do it on your phone. Everybody has a phone. You always can, if you have a project you're working on, or you're going somewhere but you're not sure, does it really benefit me? You can do a SWOT analysis. Okay, what is the strength of this project? You can work on it. Oh, what do I do well? Okay, you can do it on your personal life also, to develop, to find out what are my weaknesses, what are the area of improvement. I call weakness, I don't like the way weakness, because it's not a weakness. It's an area of improvements, a place that you need to work on. So you ask those questions. In terms of strength, you can ask like, what unique resources can I draw? What can I get from this position? How is it going to impact me? What are the strengths? In terms of weaknesses, areas that you can improve. But opportunity, you can ask yourself to, what opportunity I'm going to get through this program, or meeting this person, or going to this event, or doing this project. Yeah. And you also have to make sure, don't avoid that, the threat. The threats are really important, because so many people don't see it. We try to blind ourselves. You have to be able to see what can cause you harm in a project. You have to be able to see what are your competitors, who are the people, what are other people doing that can harm your project or your development or whatever. You have to make sure you know that, so you will know your boundaries. As a leader, you know your boundaries, you know how you go, you know you stepping. It's really important. And yeah, I think we have few time to discuss. It's already 35 minutes. How we move forward again. So risk management, yeah, we've been talking about it a little bit. Yeah, I know. So I spoke about it. It's basically you need to evaluate. In risk management, the key skill, or the key skills that you need to do, you have to become somebody that evaluates, you know. Yeah. They will call you something, they will give you some names sometimes. Oh, this guy, he's too careful. Yeah. You have to be a risk taker. You take risk, but also you need to evaluate at what cost. You know, you need to know your priorities. You need to know what comes first. You need to draw the lines to make sure something comes first. Boubacar Dabo, please put yourself on mute, or while we're going forward. Thank you. So also one key thing about risk management is control, you know. But you need to understand, we're not always on control. I'm not saying if you manage your risk and you'll be in control of everything. We are not even in control of our environment. We're not even in control of all the unfortunate events that happen in the daily life, you know. We are in a time of crisis. We have COVID-19 that happened. You got everything sleeping. We were all sleeping. We woke up, COVID-19 happened. So, but great and strong, I will say, amazing businesses, what they do is they do planning. They plan a lot ahead of the time. They do a lot of monitor. They try to minimize the risk, you know, and so because they know that events will always happen, but they make sure when those things happen, at least the cost or the damage to the program or the company, the finances are at least less. That's why it's about overseeing what things that will come and how you handle those things. So I hope you can see this thing very well. I think it's kind of small. What can we do about it? So I will jump here first, then I'll come back to that one. So steps in risk management. So risk management that really allow us to identify. Number one, identify. Identify what? The cause of something that can happen to us. And then assess. We need to assess the risk. So how big, maybe let's say, okay, oh, you guys mostly, I think Sierra Leone and Gambia, we have access to the Atlantic Ocean. Let's say, for example, if there is something rising in the sea, and then all those, let's say, hotels, so all those institutions like hotels that are on the coastline, they have, I hope they have a risk management assessment already ready for them, because in case there is something that came and the level of the sea rises, of the Atlantic rises, they have to make sure they are ready for those kind of damages. So the risk management project will allow you also to monitor, but this is number 4, but number 3, to treat. So not only you identify, you assess, but you treat. If the thing happened, you deal with it. You work on it. You know why? Because you were ready for since a long time. So, and after you monitor. When you monitor, you don't just sit. Monitor means, okay, you tracking the development of something, and then you're going back forward, back and forth, and doing reports, seeing, oh, okay, we safe here, but making sure you doing this homework. It's really important. Now here, you also, a best way to do a risk analysis, risk management, is to do scenario building. Scenario building, here you will just say, okay, if this happened, then this, then this. So logical. So you have to think logically and rationally about how you would handle something if something go wrong. It has to be on inside your book, and somewhere, if something go wrong, this is the name, this is my plan B, this is how I'm gonna do it. And what is you need to identify what will be at stake, and also what will be the cost of it. So it's really important. Sadly, in many our organizations, we didn't really pay much attention about risk assessment. Not a lot of nonprofit in Africa, but also governmental institutions, we don't even care about it. Then we are shocked when things happen to us, you see. So we need to make sure we have policies in places. We need to make sure if you have an organization, you have a association or a nonprofit or something, you make sure you have policies. This is something we in AYA we are doing. So we're working on having our policies and good practices together, and it is great. So, but But I would say after you analyze all the threat that may happen or the harm that may cause to your organization, you well prepared, so you can imagine scenarios and the ways that you can mitigate a problem. I'm saying mitigating because when you mitigate something, it's something already happened. It's not about preventing only, but it's also about mitigating. So you prevent something for, if something happens, then you deal with it. But how you're gonna deal with it, making sure that the cost to it won't cause no more damages to your finances if this is a business and something like that. So yeah, I think I spoke largely over the concepts, but as I mentioned in the beginning, these are really, really robust, hard topics to talk in 1 hour, but also I don't want to be the only person that will be talking. So I want to make sure this interaction is really fun for everybody. I will give this time for everybody to speak. So I would love to hear from you who are in conflict zone area and things like that. So right now in Africa specifically, our leaders, we need to incorporate peace education, but also mediation, and to incorporate negotiation into our daily life, and also into our educational system, to make sure even the soldiers, even the military leaders, those people that are leading us, that make sure they protect us, even the officers from the police, all those people, they need to make sure to know how not to be aggressive. You don't need to use violence if we can settle just in communicating our needs and our differences. The problem in Africa, not many people are not open-minded, because you see somebody who has a different opinion or a different view as your enemy. That's the problem, because we see everybody, if somebody think a different way, is automatically an enemy. If somebody has a different belief, it becomes a threat or an enemy. That's why we need to train. That's why we're doing this program today, to train young people to make sure that to become more open-minded, but also more inclusive. We need to be able to having discussions, to share our opinion, to listen to one another, to make sure that I can listen your view. I can be against you, but I'm not going to stop you from speaking. I can be against your point of view. I am not going to kill you because you say something different, but I listen to you. I respect what you say. Then I have also to say my piece of the truth. And then at the end, we can agree, because there is no black and white in terms of negotiation, in terms of peace, in terms of conflict resolution. We can always find the perfect middle, the gray area, that we can all live in peace. That is the importance of negotiation right now, because we need to make sure young people become more aware about how to listen to one another. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir. The other question is that some of the leaders in offices and they are not even loyal to themselves.
Yeah, I just.
Go ahead.
I said some of the leaders in offices, or in some of the leaders in office, or even in high rank, they are not even loyal to themselves. So what is your take in some of the people in office? They are not even loyal to the civilians in office. They create a lot of violence in even other world too. So what is your take on that, please?
So exactly. So here we talk about emotions as well. That's the problem when we bring our emotions, our values, our differences at work. So we need to train young people, but also the officers, everybody that are taking a responsible position in our institutions, to make sure the moment you go out of your house, you no more, you don't represent yourself anymore. The moment you take a uniform, you're not representing yourself anymore. You have to make sure to incorporate the value of a nation or the value of serving the people. The problem is so many people have not understood the value of serving a country and the population needs. That's why everybody just want to join the military, the police, or I want to wear the uniform, and we're just doing it for numbers, but we don't spend much time teaching them the value of serving, of the service, serving the people. It's about serving the people. It's why serving other people. That's why it's like you have to die so you can serve different people. You have to die in your mind. Like you have to put your ego on the side. When you put a uniform, you become more open-minded, you become tolerant, you have to be willing to take in more, because if you don't do that, this what happened. You will see conflict all the time. That's why it's part of, we need our institutions to train many people to become more tolerant and more have a sense of the service. Yes, thank you.
The other question is that Agori. Some of the police officers,
hello.
Some of the police officers and soldiers, they just wear the uniform, but they don't know the importance of the uniform. Even
yes.
As a student, to the most of our security leaders and Argol, most of the students, they don't know the importance of the uniform. That's why most of them, they create a lot of violence in the country. The kids, the rape, and stuff. So
because of time, this discussion is wonderful. Because of time, I need to hear like a few more people, like 2 or 3 more people, and then we're gonna wrap up. But we will definitely have this discussion again. Thank you so much again for sharing. So
before you go, I just want to add a few things.
Yes.
That has to do with what the gentleman is saying. I think it goes dear to tolerance, and then our civic education is the thing that is lacking. People who doesn't understand the reason why they're doing certain things. So each and everyone, we all need to go back and understand our civic right and responsibility. I think that can cover everything. And looking at the issue that you were talking about, the leadership, to me, I can take an example from the Gambia, so as a result, a lot of issues were happening that has to do with intolerance in politics. In as long as I'm not part of another party, political camp, we term each other as enemy. And as a reason why we should try to embark on this kind of programs and sensitization is to make people understand that I have my right to choose whatsoever I want to choose, and that doesn't make me an enemy to you. We should understand that every individual has the right.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
To stop their right in whatever they want to do it. So
thank you so much, Fatu. Thank you so much, Fatu. I'll take 2 more people and then we'll be good to go.
Okay.
Hi.
So talk about a few issues about the issue of management. I think in the world we live, risks is inevitable. So as youngsters of this continent, or continental Africa, we ought to be prepared.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Fatu. Absolutely. I like when you say emotion is really important, but it's hard, to manage your emotion. So that's why it takes a lot of emotional intelligence skills. So me personally, I try to work on it every time. You know how you work on your emotions? So you have to be aware. So emotional awareness is the key, because you need to be aware of yourself. Like, oh, you know what triggers you the most. You know, like, oh, if this happened, I'll be hungry. If this happened, I'll cry. If this happened, so you try to make sure to work on those things, make sure to become more aware. And if you can self-monitor yourself, like when you're talking and when you realize, oh, I'm talking so fast because I have, like, my heart is beating and I have anxiety. People have those kind of things. So you have to control, maybe take a deep breath, maybe relax, maybe think about something else that will maybe change your mood. You know, usually what I do is I focus on something that makes me the most happier. So usually when I'm so stressed, I'm trying to think about something, a memory in my life that always makes me happy, and I focus with that emotion. So it's an exercise. It's not something that's gonna work today, but you need to practice it all the time. It comes with time, actually.